Ranger Henry had spent 30 years protecting the Yellowstone borderlands, but today he was the one who needed protection. Tied to an ancient Ponderosa pine by the very poachers he busted, his only hope was the wild. He knew this forest. He knew its creatures. But he never expected his rescue to come from a giant, scarred grizzly bear he had saved years ago. The ropes were digging into Henry's chest like iron wire. He could barely breathe. Then he heard the low, guttural growl. A massive grizzly bear, the king of the Rockies, stepped into the clearing. Henry, a veteran of the wild, knew this was the end. The bear was huge, maybe 800 pounds of raw, untamed power. Its amber eyes were fixed right on him. The beast reared up on its hind legs. 3 meters of fury towering over the helpless man. A shadow of death fell upon Henry. He closed his eyes, accepting the sharp claws he knew were coming. Strike! But instead of the tearing pain, there was only a tremendous, splintering thwack right next to his shoulder. Henry's eyes snapped open. The bear's massive paw hadn't aimed for him. It had slammed precisely onto the thick, wet rope around the tree trunk. The force made Henry's whole world shake. The bear swung again and again, each blow calculated, landing exactly on the binding ropes. You won't believe what that creature did next. The enormous predator wasn't trying to kill him. It was trying to free him. It dropped to all fours, its muzzle just inches from Henry's face, sniffing and then sinking its powerful teeth into the heavy cord. It pulled with everything it had. The rope stretched taut, groaning against the strain of its raw power, but those knots, soaked by the night's dew, held fast. The grizzly, frustrated by the stubborn knots, began tearing at the rope with its claws, working with a frantic, focused energy. Its movements were so careful, so almost human, as if it knew one false move could rip Henry's shoulder clean apart. But the frustration was getting to it. The bear slammed its paw down, aiming for a difficult knot near Henry's wrist. Bam! The force was precise, but a sharp piece of rope snagged Henry's forearm. A sliver of blood ran down Henry's skin. The grizzly saw the blood. It stopped instantly. Its fierce amber eyes dropped to the wound. It let out a worried soft sound, a sound Henry had never heard from a wild bear before. It hesitated, its massive body shaking, as if it believed it had failed its mission. It was a critical moment. That's when Henry saw it. Partially hidden by the thick, shaggy fur of its side, just behind the front leg, was a long, jagged scar, a wound Henry knew intimately. He froze, disbelief washing over the pain. 3 years ago, he was running snares in the same borderlands. He found a whimpering orphan cub, its mother killed by a poacher's bullet. The cub was caught in a cruel wire trap, and its side was ripped open, leaving that exact jagged mark. Henry had nursed the cub back to health for 2 weeks in his small cabin, stitching that wound himself, feeding him milk from a bottle. He released the strong cub back to the forest, never expecting to see him again. "Junior," Henry croaked, the name a whisper that caught in his throat. "Is it really you?" The great grizzly twitched an ear. It stopped its frantic work and looked Henry straight in the eyes. In that long, deep gaze, there was recognition. There was memory. There was a connection that time, and the wild had never broken. The bear, Junior, gently nudged Henry's cheek with its enormous, soft muzzle. The debt was remembered, but their tender reunion was about to be shattered. A distant sound sliced through the mountain air, a long, mournful howl. Junior froze instantly. His head shot up, his large ears rotating like radar dishes. Another howl, closer this time, and then a third. It wasn't just one. It was a pack of gray wolves, the legendary predators of Yellowstone, and they were closing in fast. The immediate danger of the ropes was replaced by the terrifying threat of the pack. Junior didn't abandon Henry. He attacked the remaining ropes with redoubled fury, driven by a desperate new energy. He gnawed, he clawed. He needed to free Henry now. Then gray shadows flickered between the Ponderosa pines. The first wolf appeared, a massive male, the alpha, scarred across its face. It was a perfect killing machine. and it was followed by 5 others. The pack circled slowly, patiently, knowing their prey, the man tied to the tree, was trapped. Junior spun, placing his gigantic body squarely between the wolves and Henry. He let out a warning roar, a low, terrifying sound of pure primal defense. The alpha barked a command. The wolves stepped forward in unison. Junior faced the impossible choice: continue freeing Henry or protect them both. He chose defense. He reared up on his hind legs, a tower of muscle, daring the pack to attack. The wolves began their classic tactic: feints, drawing Junior's attention. While Junior drove off 2 wolves on the right, the remaining 4 began to creep low to the ground, moving not toward the bear, but toward the man. This is what Henry had to do. He strained against the one rope that Junior had loosened the most, twisting his wrists, pulling, tearing at the rough fibers. He knew he couldn't help Junior fight, but he could help him win. Junior spotted the flanking maneuver. He spun with a roar and charged, but the alpha, seeing its chance, rushed from behind. Shut! The alpha sank its teeth into Junior's powerful thigh. Junior roared in pain and rage, shaking off the alpha with a single, brutal swing that sent the wolf tumbling. Henry watched, helpless, his savior bleeding. This only fueled Junior's fury. He moved on to the offensive, striking with deadly power. If you think this fight was over, you're wrong. The worst danger was still ahead. Suddenly, Henry felt it, a small, tiny snap. The final, crucial loop around his chest broke. The pressure was gone. He could now move his arms a little. He could tug, he could twist. He looked at Junior, locked in a brutal dance with the pack. He had to draw the alpha's attention away. "Hey, here! Come and get me, you coward!" Henry screamed, his voice raw, distracting the lead wolf just as Junior was about to be flanked again. The alpha paused, looking at the man, confused by the sudden noise. That hesitation was all Junior needed. With a devastating lunge, he caught one lagging wolf mid-leap, sending it whining and limping away. The pack saw the casualty. They broke formation. Junior took 2 powerful strides toward the alpha, rose to his full height, and unleashed a final, world-shaking roar, a sound of absolute, unwavering determination. The earth itself seemed to tremble. The message was clear: this man is under my protection, and I will die here to keep him safe. The alpha, assessing the cost, barked a sharp, frustrated command. The pack began a slow, reluctant retreat, melting back into the shadows of the Ponderosa forest. Junior stood motionless, breathing heavily, completely spent. Blood was staining the earth from the wound on his thigh, but the fire in his eyes remained. He had won. Henry was still tied by his legs, but his arms were mostly free. Junior slowly turned, his gaze full of the hard-won victory. He returned to the remaining knots, gently working the final stubborn pieces of rope from Henry's wrists. Snap! Snap! Henry's arms were free. He collapsed forward, weak but alive. Junior leaned over, sniffing him gently, checking for injuries. Henry crawled painfully toward the final knot binding his ankles. Then Henry heard it. Not the wind, not the birds, but a low, distinct sound from the distance, the heavy, grinding noise of a pickup truck engine, followed by a muffled shout. The poachers were coming back. This was worse than the wolves. The poachers were the real threat. They had guns, they had tools, and they knew the territory. Junior sensed the human threat immediately. His head shot up, his ears focusing on the engine sound, his tired body tensing. Henry knew Junior couldn't stay. A massive, wounded grizzly was a trail marker, a definite sign that something big happened here. If the poachers found Junior injured next to Henry, they would finish the job on both of them. "Junior," Henry whispered urgently, using the bear's name. "Go! Hide! Now!" The bear looked at him, then at the sound of the approaching truck, then back at the knot still binding Henry's ankles. He knew the job wasn't finished. He let out a low, desperate growl, a sound of conflict. "Please, boy, go! I can cut this one myself," Henry lied, pulling a small folding knife from his boot, a last resort that the poachers had somehow missed. Junior stood, looked at Henry one last time, a long gaze of reluctant understanding, and then, with agonizing slowness, turned toward the dense woods. He was choosing Henry's safety over his own need to finish the job. Henry saw his chance. He frantically sawed at the last rope with the tiny blade. The truck was closer now. He could hear voices yelling, "Just snap!" Henry's legs were free. He rolled, grabbing his emergency pack. He shoved the knife away, and with a desperate surge of adrenaline, he scrambled into the thickest undergrowth just as the headlights of the Poachers truck rounded the bend. Junior was gone. Henry was free, but his savior was still wounded. Henry hid for hours. When the sun began to dip behind the Rockies, casting long, golden shadows, he knew the Poachers had left, having only found the torn ropes and wolf tracks, silent witnesses to a rescue they couldn't comprehend. Henry's heart was heavy. He had escaped, but Junior was out there, bleeding, defenseless against another pack or perhaps a lurking poacher. He had to find him. Following the faint trail of blood, Henry finally found him. Junior was tucked deep beneath an overhang of brush near a cold mountain stream, breathing shallowly, his eyes closed. He was exhausted. Henry approached slowly, talking softly. "Easy, boy. Let me help you finish the job." Junior watched warily but didn't move. Henry gently cleaned the deep, ragged bite wound on his thigh with antiseptic from his pack, the very pack he had taken into the field for 30 years. He carefully, expertly wrapped the bandage around the massive limb. Junior winced but endured, understanding. When Henry finished, Junior purred, a rumbling sound that resonated deep in Henry's chest. Not of threat, but of profound gratitude. They sat like that for a long time. Two old warriors in the twilight. Henry was the first to speak. He reached out his hand, remembering their bond. He ran his hand over Junior's muzzle, scratching behind his ear, just as he had done for the scared cub 3 years ago. Then he found the original jagged scar on Junior's side, the one that started it all. "You've grown, Junior. You paid your debt. You became so strong." Junior closed his eyes for a moment. He let out that soft, deep purr again. It was his final, silent message. "I remember. I never forgot my ranger." His amber eyes met Henry's one last time, a long, meaningful look of quiet acknowledgement and farewell. The debt was settled. The cycle of kindness was complete. Junior slowly, laboriously, rose to his massive paws. He turned and headed toward the deepest part of the forest, his dark silhouette dissolving into the Yellowstone shadows. He didn't look back. Henry watched until he was gone. He was safe. He was alive. He was humbled. The ground was left with nothing but torn ropes and the tracks of a great bear and a retreating man. It was no accident. It was the ultimate lesson in the wilderness. Selfless kindness is a promise the heart of the wild keeps forever. If this incredible story of loyalty and hope touched your heart like it did Henry's, let us know in the comments below. And don't miss our next video, where we reveal what happened to the Poachers after the rescue. Click here to watch more incredible rescue stories.